Hello. 81-year-old Telugu poet and political activist Varavara has just tested positive for Covid-19. He has been in jail since last 2 years. He is implicated for the Bhima Koregaon Elgar Parishad case since last 2 years, along with many other prominent political activists such as Gautam Navlaka, Anand Theltumde, Vernon Gonsalves, Sudhir Davle, Mahesh Raut, Shoma Sen, Sudha Bharadwaj, so on. Now, the trial of this particular case has not yet started, and this is the context in which the crowded jails of Maharashtra, many officials as well as prisoners are testing positive for coronavirus. At this point, it's very important that civil society as well as political groups, activists, human rights people and poets around the world raise voice for particularly Varavara Rao. In this point, I'm going to read a couple of poems by Varavara Rao and demand the government of India as well as the prison authorities that his bail be made possible immediately. I'm going to read a couple of poems by him. The first poem is titled as Poetry. This is an English translation of his Telugu poem, Poetry. Poetry is the truth that need not be hidden, like a people that don't need a government or a life that doesn't require an elixir. You may risk the pockets of pour the papers and books on the table to probe or scan the drawers or explore the long tunnel of the heart that opens as a bira flower. You cannot find a single secret. There is only poetry. You don't understand. It is the secret called poetry that is the most dangerous about my being. You think at the moon is forever trapped in the rectangle of the dry sky until you, who bury your hands in the pockets, raise your head to insult me. See a moonlight spreading across the sky as my poetry. You will be dazzled to know of my story of the strange moon that cannot see the moon of the sky. I used to feel repulsed like insects crawling on my skin when you grope my body for contraband in the beginning. Now in this loneliness, as I drained out my old blood and transfused it with poetry, I feel bad for you, fumbling for your own humanity desperately as you search for me. I give myself to you to have a collar fixed around the throat or a mental machine rubbed on my heart, to strip my clothes, to rinse my skin and to follow the secret lands with me. Poetry is the sound of the hands heavily shackled, birds of freedom fleeing out of chains for every moment. The conspiracy of prosecution comes to light to the court days. Poetry flares up the more you survive. Poetry keeps inspiring masses. The more you do government, poetry will swim in your own conscience. The more you spread the death trap. Poetry is the open secret that abolishes the state. It reaches its readers even while it's forming in heart. It renders itself meaningful but default. For the one who can understand, it spurts protest while it's still drowning in my conscience. The real secret is that my poetry came to life drinking the breast milk of social movements. From the hands you tied as an uninterrupted string of grief and rage, as a sight that blazes tears, poetry keep streaming through the red veins of my language. Another poem that I'm going to read by Varavra is called Deflection. This was written in 1908 over one of the case which was quite prominent, where the strike against a custodial death of one of the activists of Radical Students Union in 80, 85. So the poem is called Reflection. I do not supply the explosives, nor the ideas for that matter. It was you who trod with iron heels upon the anthill, and from the trampled earth sprouted the ideas of vengeance. It was you who struck the beehive with your lathi. The sound of the scattering bees exploded in your shaken facets, blotched red with fear. When the victory drum started beating in the heart of the masses, you mistook it for the person and trained your guns. Revolution echoed from all horizons. So by this, I once again urge everybody who is listening to this, at least raise some or the other way, which helps Varavara and all other political prisoners get bail in this grim situation where the jails all across the country, and particularly in the jails of Maharashtra, where prisoners are really overcrowded, and prison officials as well as inmates are being tested positive for COVID-19 on a regular basis. Thank you.